Oh, look, we're live. I'm in Veronica Belmont's house. She's out walking a dog. Molly Wood's here. Everything's in a different place. Before we start, Molly, Veronica's left-handed, but mouse is right. And I mouse left. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a left-handed desk. I want it to move stuff around.
But it's not?
No, she's got her mouse on the right.
She's goofy. She mouses goofy.
It's a crazy mixed-up world.
Oh, my God. That's so confusing.
All right.
Hold on. I'm trying to tweet.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you can start the show if you want to. I can tweet at the same time.
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, you didn't even tweet. Yeah.
You tweet. I'm assuming you meant about the show, but if it's just an observation on life, that's fine too. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
I was born ready.
Thank you, Patrick.
It only takes a little to help a lot. To show your support for Daily Tech News Show, go to patreon.com/acedetect and pledge just $1 per month. That's patreon.com/ACEDTECT.
This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, March 30th, 2015. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, soon-to-be host and correspondent for Marketplace, Ms. Molly Wood. How's it going, Molly?
I'm great. Gosh, I feel like I just saw you. It's like we were just hanging out.
It is, because we were yesterday. Do you remember?
Yesterday.
It was a long time ago.
It's like we lived that day twice.
That was so fun. We celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the beginning of Buzz Out Loud, the CNET podcast that Molly and I did together for many years. And its actual day is today, March 30th. 10 years ago today at noon, we recorded a Buzz Out Loud that we decided to go ahead and publish.
As opposed to the couple we had done before that we were like, we sound weird.
Yeah.
So this is our actual happy anniversary day. Cheers.
Yay. Cheers.
Yay. Yay. Clink.
Thank you for doing this with me, as always, of course, but extra special on a day like today. We're going to talk a little bit about digital music. We could bring up a Sony rootkit for old times' sake.
I was going to say, which is itself a bit of a Buzz Out Loud reunion callback, isn't it?
Definitely so.
I know. I got this tech, or this Jenny asked me earlier. She goes, Tom wants to know if you want to talk about digital music today. I'm all, yep.
I figured it was a pretty safe bet.
Yep. That's a go.
Let's start off with the headlines. Oh, no, that's the show. Here, headlines. TechCrunch reports Tidal sent out invites for a press conference today where Jay-Z will announce a commitment to a new direction for the music industry from both a creative and business perspective. That's a quote from the press release. It's expected that artists like Madonna, Kanye West, Arcade Fire will use the service to release albums first before they go to other streaming services. Tidal features a high-fidelity music service that just dropped its price today from $20 a month to $10 a month. Jay-Z has agreed to acquire the company with share transfers expected to complete in mid-April.
More on Tidal in a bit. But before that, Engadget reminds us that PlayStation Music launches today in 41 countries, and it is powered by Spotify. So fans with Spotify accounts, even the free accounts, not necessarily the ad-free premium ones, can listen to their own playlists in-game. That's sure to be pretty popular.
Yeah. The Washington Post published an opinion column from Apple CEO Tim Cook objecting to religious freedom bills passed in Indiana and close to passing in Arkansas. Cook believes the bills will be used, quote, to refuse service to a customer or resist a state non-discrimination law. And what's important about this as a tech story is that Cook has taken more active public stances on issues than previous CEO Steve Jobs. And when he's done this before, it was pretty interesting break in protocol for an Apple CEO, Molly, but it looks like this is something we can expect to hear from Tim Cook maybe regularly.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it's great. And I think that one of the things he did was leverage the huge power of Apple as a business to say that these laws, that he considers them discriminatory, which they are, but also that he thinks they're dangerous for business, that they're dangerous from an economic perspective. And that was just an interesting take, right? Because it's a way to sort of align the personal beliefs with a pretty practical approach.
Yeah, and a much more active role for an Apple CEO.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, across the board, I think you've seen Tim Cook just really be a lot more involved in all kinds of philanthropic efforts. He's been much more public. You see a big change at Apple. He's been thanking the employees at every Apple event. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I think it's just like such a solid how every time he says he wants to thank the employees of Apple and the crew who made the events happen. I mean, he's a very different outward facing guy, and it's been interesting to see him come into that kind of slowly.
Yeah, for sure.
Ease us into the new Apple. TechCrunch reports that Apple's, speaking of Apple, trade-in program will now offer credit for non-Apple smartphones and PCs. The trade-in program is operated by third-party partners, and eligible trade-ins include but are not limited to Sony, Samsung, Nokia, LG, HTC, and BlackBerry devices. So if you bought something else and decided that you want an Apple iPhone instead, you can just bring in that phone and get some money for it. The expanded trade-in program is live in the US, Canada, UK, Germany, France, and Italy as of today.
Just smart. I mean, why would you only want to take trade-ins? If you're going to take trade-ins, why would you only want to do it?
I mean, again, this is like the sign of the new Apple, right? Like somebody at Apple was like, hey, what a good idea.
Yeah.
Get new customers.
And we complete our Apple trifecta with Mac Rumors obtaining some Apple training documents indicating Apple will sell its watch in stores, or at least how it will sell its watch in stores. As announced on March 9th, in-store purchases can only be made after making an online reservation starting April 10th. From then until the day of sale on April 24th, you can go to the store to get a demo. Now, 9 to 5 Mac sources say people looking at the expensive Apple Watch Edition, that's the $10,000 one, for instance, will get an hour to try it on, learn about the watch, and if they buy one, some help placing their online reservation, as well as access to a dedicated phone line with 24/7 tech support for 2 years. Shoppers for the other two models will get about 15 minutes with the watch, and I would assume a chance to buy AppleCare. CNET has a good summary of all those reports if you want to check them out over there.
Even an hour with the Apple Watch Edition cannot prevent you from the massive buyer's regret that will occur when you spend $10,000 to $18,000 on a device that is going to be obsolete in 2 years, as evidenced by the fact that you get free tech support for it for 2 years, which is about the length of time it will take for it to become a gold encased piece of junk. Like,
yeah,
it's the single most wasteful thing I think that the tech industry has done in so long, and it's such a bizarre and ugly counterpoint to Tim Cook being like a good dude. It's like, why would you put out this horrifically wasteful device that is basically only for show ponies who are willing to spend an ungodly amount of money that's on something that, like, what would you even do with it once it doesn't technologically work anymore? Like, at least a Rolex is like an heirloom that will still tell the time. Like, I'm off the rails, and I apologize.
Well,
like,
it's a good point. Because I can argue that, you know, selling a high-priced watch to people who don't have buyer's regret because they have so much money that $10,000 doesn't matter to them is possible, right?
Sure.
But is that the way you should do it? If you're wanting to be a company that is known as environmentally sensitive, which Apple does, it trades on that brand now. This is definitely something that doesn't quite jive with that.
Exactly. I think it's just a really fundamentally wasteful device, and I don't understand what you're going to do with it in 3 years or 5 years.
I guess you could sell the gold.
I mean, I guess, like, you're going to melt it down for gold, though? They're not going to do that. Like,
there's some rare earth minerals in there that could be reclaimed. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to see the recycling program for the $18,000 Apple Watch.
Oh, you just nailed it, Molly. There will be one.
Well, there will have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
sorry. Curious to see what that is, too.
There will have to be. Because they said that they're not going to provide an upgrade path.
Yeah.
Like, in a meeting with them, it was very clear that there will not be any way to upgrade it.
There will be a trade-in program with the recycling end of it. That's my guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And there better be, because that thing is gross. All right, that was a lot of Apple. Don't you feel like we need, like, a Linux chaser?
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
But instead, we'll get another billionaire.
But instead, we get a Tesla chaser. TechCrunch notes that Elon Musk tweeted today that Tesla will unveil a, quote, major new Tesla product line, not a car.
Gold watches.
Gold watches! Gold watches for everyone! At the company's Hawthorne Design Studio on Thursday, 8 p.m., April 30th. And the speculation so far has been that it could be a home battery, as in a battery to power your entire home. Maybe it's
He
Fusion.
has mentioned that they want to do
Fusion.
that. He's even said, I think in January, he said sometime around 6 months, we might be able to bring it to market. So this would be about the time that you might want to announce it if you're bringing it to market in June.
Fusion. Like, come on, Elon. Give us something big here.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I also just kind of love how Elon Musk just takes to Twitter to make his big press announcements.
Yeah, he's like, I don't need to send you like an invite or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna have like a thing. And then what do you think happens? Do people like do like journalists respond? Because I was like, should I tweet him and see if I can come?
Yeah.
Like, what do I do now?
Maybe. Try it. See what happens. Ars Technica reports that GitHub came under the largest denial of service attack in the site's history, March 26th, that is still ongoing. The attack seems to affect 2 GitHub projects in particular, Great Fire and CN New York Times, or CN-NY Times. The DDoS is caused by JavaScript injected by a certain device at the border of China's inner network and the internet when people visit Baidu, which causes browsers to then request those 2 project pages over and over again. GitHub has managed some mitigation efforts, and the DDoS intensity dropped a little bit since March 28th, but the threat has evolved and new measures are being implemented. Baidu has denied involvement and says its internal security has not been compromised, so we don't know who's behind it. No one has claimed responsibility for the attack.
CNET reports that Gogoro, the smart electric scooter that received, I hope it's pronounced something like that, that got lots of attention at CES, will conduct its first pilot release in its home country of Taiwan. The battery-powered scooter has 30 sensors. It can be monitored with an app, and it's designed to conserve energy. Gogoro Energy E-at-Work stations, really? E-at-Work stations?
I think it's an E-network.
E-network stations will allow owners to, I was like, what the heck? Will allow owners to swap the 20-pound batteries in about 6 seconds, which is a lot faster than waiting for a recharge, and that's the thing that makes it seem feasible in urban environments. The first store opens in Taipei Monday, and pricing has not yet been announced.
Yeah, this is. I'm interested to see if this can catch on because I mean everybody wants it in cars, right? But if you can do it with scooters, especially in places like Taipei, and Singapore, and places where scooters are a predominant mode of transportation, it could go a long way to proving how a system like this could work.
Mm-hmm.
The next web reports the government of India announced a policy making it mandatory for apps and services to use open source software when possible in order to, quote, ensure efficiency, transparency, and reliability of such services at affordable cost. They're, of course, not the first government to do this. The United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany have all opted for open source software over proprietary tools in different ways.
It's almost like a Linux chaser.
We should have put that one up there. You're right.
No, totally.
Close enough.
The separation of Google Plus into disparate streams continues. It's basically being broken up and distributed around various Google properties, I'm sure as clumsily as possible. The next web also reports Google Plus Photos will now show up in Google Drive, and you will find a new Google Photos menu on Drive in Android, iOS, and the web.
You know, I'm actually all for this. You guys don't know that Molly was ranting a bit about some changes in Gmail and Hangouts before the show, and I think this is a step toward cleaning up what I think Google Plus messed up. They tried to unify a bunch of things under a social network that, while it is used, has not become what they, I think, hoped it would become, and so now they're trying to back out of that.
And as a result, it was really clunky to find these digital items that you just wanted to be part of Drive. Like, it makes sense to put it in Drive, and I think it becomes a more Dropbox-like experience where it's unified digital storage as opposed to this like obnoxious layer of social network over top of the things you just want to quickly access. I just am skeptical of the implementation because every time they just start like monkeying around with interface, it just gets ugly for a little while. I'm sure eventually it'll be great.
And we get stories submitted by you. Some of the stories we've talked about already were submitted by folks at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. It really, the more people participating there, the better it helps us put together the lineup. Because those stories where we're on the edge, there's always the stories we know we're going to include. But then there's those stories like, well, I wonder if they're more interested in this or that. DailyTechNewsShow.reddit.com helps us decide that. So get in there and make your voice heard. Habituela Condolce posted the TechCrunch story that Unity developer Eric Royston Ross has recreated the first level of Super Mario 64 in high definition. Ross built the level to show off his custom character controller code. You can find it for Windows, Mac, and Linux at roystonross.wordpress.com/super-mario-64-HD. You can even play it in your browser if you install the Unity plugin at mario64-eric with a K .u85.net/web.html. We'll have those links in the show notes too, but really looks good. It's not 100% faithful, but it's close enough.
That's pretty awesome. I think that Mario in the browser is good enough, right? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect because it's
HD Mario.
HD Mario. Super Mario 64 in HD, you guys. Nerdgasm.
No
T-Glass 1976 submitted the Engadget report that Amazon Home Services launched in competition with subscription listing services like Angie's List, launched a competition with subscription listing services. Amazon relies on hand-picked professionals and upfront pricing. Customers don't pay until the job is done. So it's almost like a TaskRabbit, but for professionals, if you're familiar with Angie's List. That will make a lot more sense. Plus, there's no subscription fee, unlike Angie's List. Home Services is available in 41 cities in the U.S. at launch, and I think has the potential to be super useful.
Yeah, I have wanted to turn to Angie's List from time to time because I needed like a plumber, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't because I'm like, but I don't need this all the time. I don't want to pay a subscription fee for something like that. So Amazon just, to me, to my way of thinking, scooped them because they're reviewing these people. They're like, these are trustworthy folks. You're going to get reviews from people who've only ever paid for their services. Amazon's very good at that sort of thing now. Over the years, they've gotten better at it. So this seems like a winner.
No, I think this is huge. I think it's a big deal. It's certainly really bad news for Angie's List, but that is a service that I've never been able to bring myself to pay for, and it's something that Amazon's proven so good at being essentially a de facto recommendation network that it's kind of interesting to see them lean into it even a little. Obviously a lot more than they were before, because they essentially are a de facto recommendation network for retailers and products already. So to become that way for services makes a lot of sense, and I feel like they could do startups now. They could almost do businesses next, considering how many they host.
And that is a look at the headlines. All right. Couple of stories. We told you about Tidal, which actually coming up in like 15 minutes, they're going to have that announcement. So by the time a lot of you listen to this, you'll hear more about Tidal from Jay-Z's mouth. But that's really not the main point of what we want to talk about. The fact that Jay-Z is buying a music streaming service and trying to pay artists more and trying to provide artists a way to give albums exclusively ties into a couple other things today. BMG Music signed a distribution deal with Alibaba in China. It's going to help them fight piracy as well as give Alibaba some access to music for their streaming services like Xiaomi and TTPod. There's also a service that we mentioned. Molly mentioned the Spotify service. It's branded under Sony, but it's available on the PS4. But what really got me thinking about this today was a column by Micah Singleton at The Verge. Go read it at verge.com. Micah makes some great points about how Beyonce really turned the tide back to albums by releasing her album, Beyonce by Beyonce, at the end of 2013 without any promotion, without any announcement, without any marketing, and sold 800,000 albums in 72 hours. Now you say, well, that's Beyonce. Drake, if you're reading this, it's too late, sold 495,000 in 3 days using the same approach. Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly, 325,000 in its first week. This is becoming a thing where you make the release of the album that moment in time. And one of the things that Micah brings up is the fact that leaks of albums have been devastating, especially to somebody who just wants a couple singles. So if you're recording the album to be consumed as an album, like Beyonce did, like Taylor Swift did with 1984, and you don't let it leak ahead of time, like Beyonce did, but not like Taylor Swift did, you have a chance of getting people really excited because suddenly it's that moment that happened. Whereas if you say, oh, we'll put out 2 singles and the CD's coming and we're sending it to stores, you just open yourself up to links. Or to leaks. Mm-hmm. And this has been an issue. The complaints have been artists don't get paid enough. Well, here's Jay-Z trying to solve that on the streaming services.
I gotta say,
it's also been that singles are ruining albums. Here's Beyonce kind of turning it around there. Go ahead, Molly. What do you got to say on this?
Oh, so much. Well, one thing I wanted to come back to Tidal before I address the album thing is that I am wondering what took artists so long to sort of try their own streaming service and to take the tools of digital distribution back to that extent. I think it's going to be, so a couple of things that are interesting about this. One, it feels like a musician renaissance, right? It feels like the musician saying, okay, like Taylor Swift laying down the hammer and rebelling against the Spotify model, and the musicians are saying we're going to take back the tools of distribution and we're going to pay ourselves more and we're going to reinvigorate the album. But I have a couple of questions. For example, what have the sales been since the first 72 hours, or since the first 495 or 3 days, or since the first week of Kendrick Lamar's album. Like, I suspect that what we will find out is what the actual ceiling for album sales are. Because yes, you definitely create a moment, but is it enough of a moment to sell 10 million copies of an album? And that, I think, is still an open question because we're not hearing those numbers, right? We're hearing about Taylor Swift, but she's like an entity unto herself.
Right. She is a phenomenon that
you could talk about the atmosphere on Jupiter, but
definitely
it's not really
the outlier. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna that atmospheric data is not relevant elsewhere. And then I think with the music service, it's fascinating, and if it gets enough exclusives, it could be a draw. But you also have to go where the people are, and if the people are Spotify and iTunes is about to announce a music service, I just think it's really interesting. Like, I'm not sure it's completely proven, but I think we are seeing that music, and this is what should be important to artists, right? Like, I was on a panel about this at CES 2 years ago, and one of the things that we were talking about is that the potential market for digital music is still massive. Like, there is still a ton of money to be made as we continue to transition people to digital purchases and to digital music. Like, it's still a relatively small number of people who buy digital music, but people are still willing to pay, and they're increasingly willing to pay for premium streaming services, primarily, but maybe albums, right? Like, $15 used to feel like a lot for a CD. It weirdly doesn't feel like that much for digital goods anymore. It's like how much a movie costs to buy. It's how much a book costs to buy. It's like a standard price. And so it's not as off-putting. And I think that if they can figure this out, there's, ironically, possibly more money to be made than there ever has been on music.
According to what I'm finding here, 5 million sales for Beyonce by Beyonce.
5 million sales? Yeah.
At least 5 million. I don't know if it keeps going up. And then don't forget she put a box set version out a year later to goose the sales.
Right.
So that adds some. I don't think that changes what you're saying. I do think that the fact that you saw Kendrick Lamar jump in on this shows that people at least think it's worth trying. And
sure.
I also think it's really fair to say that Beyonce is a bit of an outlier as well. But I do like Micah's logic in this column that you have to take into account what is actually happening out there. And if you put a CD out on a release date that used to rely on the fact that, hey, you know what, nobody's going to look inside that truck while the CD's on its way to Tower Records, that's just not a good approach anymore. And so whether this approach ends up being the one that works or they figure out another approach, I think the things to remember are people, as you just mentioned, Molly, really want music. It's not that they don't want music. People will even pay for music. It's not that they want to steal the music. They just want to make it easy to get. And I also think the one thing that Micah doesn't address, and I think maybe Jay-Z is pointed at, is these streaming services are still young. And so maybe you got to pay artists a little extra in these early days to get them on board. But once they reach critical mass and everybody's streaming them on them in radio-sized numbers, which they haven't quite reached yet, then suddenly that economy of scale kicks in, and you can start to see some real money coming in from that.
Well, I think economy of scale is the argument that Spotify has also used for what it pays artists, right? Like,
yeah,
there's
and
also
Pandora
a big,
as well. True.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a big complaint. Like Hank Shockley from Public Enemy says that artists should be a lot more concerned still about record labels first. You know, he's like, look, if artists have worries, it should be record labels, then YouTube, which is where the vast majority of this comes from, and nobody's talking about the amount that artists make back from that, and then something like Spotify, which is still pretty small, right, in the grand scheme of things. And that, yes, like really popular artists do get paid more, but again, it's an economies of scale question, and as Spotify grows, so might the payouts. I think that there's a question about that too. Like, I don't think that Spotify is screwing artists nearly to the level that record labels are.
No, I think that is probably true as well. At the same time, Spotify wants to make a buck, and I don't know. What do you think? I'm going to throw this out there. In a year from now, Dr. Dre-led beats run through Apple, and Jay-Z's streaming service have eclipsed Spotify because they're able to work directly with artists to gain the kinds of exclusives that make people want to give them $10 a month. and they just create a better service. And these are artist-led companies, or at least services.
That's a bold statement. Well, okay, so one thing that's extra bold about that is that there isn't any evidence that Beats has the leveraging power to get those exclusives, and in fact, just the opposite. Like Beats had to make a big, or the forthcoming iTunes subscription service had to make a pretty big concession in having to price the same as Spotify and the same as Beats, the existing premium streaming services. Apple wanted that price to be lower. They wanted it to be about $8 instead of $10 a month. And that was seen as a big defeat that the music industry had to leverage now to say, nope, like we are not budging on pricing. That's how much it's going to be, and that just live with it. And so I don't think it's a given that Beats will be able to score those exclusives. It does sound like the Jay-Z service may be able to. So the question is whether the artists will be willing to take a short-term, like the short-term risk of not having anyone see them, because what was it after it only had 12,000 users at some point and maybe has about 35,000 now? Like that's a pretty big delta to overcome in a year.
Yeah, the gamble is that once Jay-Z makes this announcement today with like Kanye on board, suddenly a flood of people come and subscribe, but we have to wait and see if that happens.
So I could say Tidal, maybe in a year, because if the artists all turn on Spotify en masse and you can't, I'm already feeling, especially with my workout playlists, the loss of Taylor Swift. I feel it. I miss her on the Spotify. And so yeah, if you discover that Spotify suddenly doesn't have any music and Tidal does, that could work. That could
Tidal already has Taylor Swift's 1984.
1989.
I'm sorry, 89. Do I keep calling it 84?
Yes, you do. Which is like super sweet, but she would kill you for that.
Got Taylor
not
Swift.
That old, Tom.
She's a good singer, though. 1989. I was trying to make her older. I know. That's an insult. I apologize, Miss Swift.
She's not having it. Spotify has 1989? Are you sure?
Huh?
Are you sure that Spotify has 1989? I thought you pulled it off.
No, Spotify does not.
Does not. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I mean. I'm feeling the loss on Spotify.
That's what I'm saying. And Tidal already has it before the announcement today.
No, they
might
don't.
announce they get her back catalog today.
I think they have her back catalog and not 1989, actually.
Well, I'm just going by what I read on The Verge, I guess. Or no, I'm sorry. Whichever
Hold on. I'm going to try to find it. I saw it somewhere and it said that it was excluding, but maybe it's as of today. They have it? I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
Taylor Swift's catalog came to Tidal last week minus her 1989. You're correct.
Yeah. I mean, she is like not. She's got that locked up tight. She's not having it. So like, if they can't
maybe they get 1989.
So to me, it's like, well, great, right? There's some older songs on Spotify, or there were. I don't know. I'm just saying the exclusives are gonna have to be big, because what I value in Spotify is that I'm already a user. Like, it's a question of user acquisition, and I think every startup knows that user acquisition is hard. I have like 30 hand-curated playlists at Spotify that I'm obsessed with, and I have not been persuaded to switch to anything else, even if it's a little bit better, because I'm an entrenched user. And if 3.5 million of Spotify's 5 million users are entrenched like I am, like 1 or 2 Taylor Swift albums, because I'd like to have it for my workout list, but that's not really what I'm in it for. I'm in it for the ability to have any song at my fingertips when I want it. And it's very rare for me to encounter a song that I can't find.
Yeah, and that's why Eileen, my wife, started using Spotify instead of RDO, because she kept running into songs she couldn't find on RDO. Right. That's Tidal's gamble, right? They're going to say, we're going to make some of your favorite songs not available on Spotify, so you'll want to switch to us.
Which
we
then,
should mention
honestly,
also it's a high-fidelity service. They're using FLAC, 44.1 kilohertz, 16-bit. So that might appeal to some people. I'm not sure how much. I mean, Neil Young's Pono service did not set the world on fire, even though it was high-quality audio, so I'm not sure how much that makes a difference.
I think the world has, for good or for ill, right? I'm not saying this is a positive. The world has pretty empirically turned its back on quality. Like, I mean, we don't care how bad the pictures look as long as they're on Instagram. Like, we don't, I think audio fidelity, it's interesting as a trend to see people try to bring that back and to see like HTC double down on really good sounding speakers in its phones or whatever, but it almost feels like that's an attempt to differentiate we just walked. Yeah, there's a resurgence in vinyl, but for the most part, people have walked away from audio quality. They don't care.
For now, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll change someday, but for now, that's totally true.
You just have to, I'm just saying Tidal will have to be way better to get people to switch. And I'm not sure I'm seeing way better in just Taylor Swift, you know?
Well, we don't know who I mean, people listening to me right now know it's more than Taylor Swift.
Yes, as an example.
And apparently it's going to be Beyonce, right? And Arcade Fire and Calvin Harris and
like coming off Spotify. You think those artists are actually going to come off Spotify?
What's going to happen is their future albums are going to release first on Tidal.
Right.
And so you're going to be without them on Spotify for a period of time. I don't know how long.
And you're just going to have windows. I mean, that hasn't slowed Netflix. I guess that's the argument that I would posit, right? Like Netflix suffers from those windows too, and they've been okay.
Yeah, and well, also Netflix is in a space where you're fine paying for cable plus Netflix, or buying some things on iTunes plus Netflix, or Hulu plus Netflix. This could be moving us to a world where people are like, well, I pay $10 for Tidal and $10 for Beats and $10 for Spotify, because they all have different exclusives. Because don't expect Spotify to sit on their ass and not actually sign some exclusives themselves.
And so it's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to make digital music annoying in the way that digital video is already annoying, right? Where you have a million disparate sources and you need a website called Can I Stream It? To even find out if you can stream it, and if so, where. Like while we figure out all of this licensing crap, it is like the most annoying time in digital distribution, because there's going to be some songs over here and some songs over here, and some shows are on this channel and some are over here and some are nowhere. So what are you supposed to do?
But isn't it nice to be having this conversation instead of to go back to the Buzz Out Loud 10 year? Like the conversations we were having 10 years ago were like, you can't get music legally. And when you can, the few times you can, it's locked up and you don't even know what device to play it on. At least we've made some progress. Oh,
it's totally true. Like these problems are the best problems.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a look at the pick of the day. We got one here from Vance, who said it's an often underutilized by even longtime Android users, Google Voice Actions. While we are all aware that it exists, most are simply not in the habit of using this incredible resource. Vance says, for me, it is a cross between Jeeves and the ambient computer from Star Trek. I ask it for all sorts of factual information, let it do calculations, tell it to give me a reminder at a certain time, or when I get within a range of a certain place, I use it to send texts, make calls, and initiate navigation. It helps keep me hands-free in the car, and it very rarely gets things wrong, and you don't have to say anything. Just tap the little microphone icon in your search bar and wait for the beep. Thanks, Vance, for the reminder. Google Voice Actions, Android users, don't forget, if you did, that you can use that. Send your picks to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can find my picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. In fact, I avoided saying something in that email that he had written because I didn't want to set off people's voice-activated devices. And we had an email about that last Friday where someone suggested calling them Feeny calls. We got one email from Niall who said, I love the idea of calling these things Feeny calls, because the actor who played Mr. Feeny in BMW, William Daniels, was also the voice of Kit, the talking computer car in Knight Rider.
Amazing.
Thank you, Niall in Big Beautiful Wyoming. And also Steve from Columbus wondered why noise canceling doesn't work for stuff like this. Shouldn't it be possible, he writes, to filter audio input through an intense waveform of the audio output? If I understand this correctly, this is similar to how noise canceling headphones work, with sound from outside the headphones reproduced as an inverted cancellation wave into the ear. So it then would know, like, oh, that sound's coming from outside. It's the reverse of it, right? That sound's coming from outside. I'll listen to it, but the sound coming from my speakers, I'll cancel out.
Yeah, it should know that, because honestly, that's just like a massive security breach waiting to happen. It was people were joking about it on Twitter during the last Apple event that, like, as soon as everybody said, "Hey, you know who," all their phones lit up at once, and it's a pretty trivial thing from there to say, "Hey, so and so," or "Okay, you know what," and dial a premium number, for example.
Format disk. That works, but
still, something like that.
And if anybody knows why. Let us know. Feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. David Nemesi writes with another Amazon Prime tip. We've been getting all kinds of people telling us how they use Amazon Prime. He likes the no rush Prime shipping. In a nutshell, if you choose this option at checkout, you'll get your stuff in about 5 to 7 days instead of the fancy express shipping. But you'll also get $1 credit towards Amazon Instant Video rental or purchase of an MP3. He's like, I'm not sure if the credit applies to Kindle purchases. I'm not sure if it does either. But I used this over the holidays where I was ordering a gift and I knew 5 to 7 days was enough to get it there in time. I would choose it every time, and I was able to get a couple of free movies out of it.
I kind of like that, although I see it as indicative that Amazon is clearly having trouble. Well, that and the fact that my packages often don't arrive when they're supposed to arrive as indicative of the fact that Amazon might not be able to keep up with its Amazon Prime promises. So they're now trying to bribe me not to use the service that I pay for by paying me a little bit to not use the service that I pay for.
Yeah, well, I mean, if the packages always arrived when they said, I wouldn't have any issue with that.
That's just it. Exactly. Then I wouldn't even notice, but I have definitely noticed the Prime delivery service falling off. And I have had a couple instances where I was like, I counted on that delivery and it did not come. So the fact that this combined with that makes me be like, are you guys not keeping it together with your Amazon Prime shipping? Just saying.
Just saying. And if you want to hear what Molly Wood is just saying, pretty soon you'll be able to hear it on Marketplace. That's right, marketplace.org. I will be contributing tech feature stories and filling in for the Marketplace hosts when they're on assignment or vacation. I'm the primary backup, so I think that you're between the 4 shows that make up the Marketplace family. There's a good chance you could be hearing kind of a lot. They're going to keep you busy, I'm sure. Yeah, that starts in mid-April, right?
Yep.
So check her out there, and also follow Molly on Twitter, because if you're not following her on Twitter, you're missing out. Twitter.com/MollyWood, MOLLYWOOD. Thank you, Molly, and happy anniversary.
I know. Happy anniversary to you. This is pretty special.
Yeah, no, I was really happy that it worked out for you to be on the show today. I had a blast at the reunion yesterday, and thanks to, again, Jenny Josephson, Darren Kitchen, Todd Whitehead, the whole Hack 5 crew, and everyone who helped make that happen. It was a blast, and yes, there is a YouTube video up on demand already, and we will get MP3s and downloadable video up soon as well.
Because we know you guys love us. Thanks. Yeah, it was, you know what? Yesterday was such a delightful day. Like, we just basked in the love of Twitter and Facebook. Like, it was really great. It was a cathartic show, too. It was pretty great.
No, it was fantastic. I hope you all get a chance to see it. And thank you to the patrons of this show, who hopefully will keep it going for a long time as well. 4,874 people. We cannot thank you enough. The folks who see the value in the show. I always say, if you get some value in the show, give some value back. Today, I want to say, if you've been giving us value back for the value we've been giving you, thank you so much. Patreon.com/AceDetect. You guys are the best. Or dailytechnewsshow.com/support. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. You can call us 512-59-DAILY. That's 593-2459. Listen to the show live on Alpha Geek Radio at alphageekradio.com and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com. We'll be back tomorrow with Patrick Beja as our guest, our co-contributor. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
What happened to the wah 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 wah?
Wah 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 wah.
It's right there.
Oh, it's right there.
He sent a new one, though.
Uh-huh.
Well, we can use both. You don't like the new one?
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network.
I like it. I would have used them both.
I just don't like change.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I want all things to
something to be changed in the world.
Well, that was funny.
What?
Alicia Keys was like, if there's something to be changed. I launched the Tidal thing. I want to watch it. Can I go watch it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The Tidal dealie. I guess we have a post show, right?
Yeah.
Because I have Jenny.
Oh, right.
We just trade?
Yeah, we can trade.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
could work.
I'll still sit here, but I'm gonna go to get my computer so I can watch this Tidal thing because now I'm like wildly curious. Here, switch.
A title in the stream, or the streaming wars have begun.
Or how about titles in the stream?
Tidal making waves.
Oh, we got some good titles for Tidal.
Titles.
Oh my god.
Turn down for wood. Hey.
That was me.
I know.
Nice.
I did that.
That's a good one.
To another place. Woo-hoo. We can rely on each other. Just get real, people.
What if they change that to, where BioCow put Swift Tidal? What if they put, Swift Current Tidal Force?
I don't know.
Ooh. A swift boat. No, you don't want to say that.
You don't. You do not say that.
What about Tidal Force?
Wait, I gotta get to the titles. Hold on.
Oh no, it's not in there. I'm just adding.
I'm on someone else's computer and I'm confused.
Also, I'm not doing same with your poop. As hilarious as it is.
That was me. I did that. I like that that's the top one vote getter.
It
though.
is. It's amazing.
I like begun the streaming wars have.
I've used the gun these Clone Wars have before. I'm a little... I don't know. For some reason today I'm feeling like maybe I should hold off on that. I don't know why. It's probably fine. You tell me, audience. Showbot.tv.
Rising Tide lifts all bands.
Ooh,
Lifts all groups.
that's good.
Bide. Oh, Biocow submitted it. Thank you, Biocow. Begun the Streaming Wars have. Streaming Wars have begun. We'll split the credit between Beatmaster and Jenny.
The jacket's my own ear.
Wait, what?
Because Beatmaster has the Streaming Wars have begun,
Yeah.
and then you have begun the Streaming Wars have.
Yeah, I took mine off of his. I Star Wars that. I Yoda-ized his.
Right, exactly.
I Yoda did.
Put your thing down, flip it, and Yoda it.
Roger, if you want a tablet, you need to somehow privately send me your address.
Okay, I'll just email you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's that?
Or just
That's good.
tell her right now, and she can write it.
It's a good private communication. 'Cause
I'll just send an email. That way you'll have it for posterity.
I'm going to the post office because instead of driving across a bridge to hand you a tablet, I would rather mail it.
Okay. Can I email you just about the?
Yes, please. Put it like a little reminder, and then like the resume. You don't need to do a cover letter, just resume.
Okay. Cool.
I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
It was 10 years ago today.
And send me the thing you're looking at so I know how to phrase it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I will have some tea. What else?
Against the Tide.
Roll
Again.
Tide.
Roll Tide, roll.
Yeah,
Rising Tide lifts all bands.
The Streaming Wars have begun is winning.
Molly's favorite. Wait, Molly just said that her favorite was what?
I liked Roger's thing, the title.
A rising tidal lifts all bands.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
How about a question? Will a rising
Too many words.
tidal
Too many words.
all bands?
Too many words.
They're doing this like really dramatic thing where they all come and sign.
Oh,
It's
really?
one more word.
Are they singing? Oh, signing.
Signing.
I thought you said they're all gonna sang.
No. They might sign.
Oh,
There's Queen Bee.
Bee!
All the artists are like signing on. It's really dramatic. Here's like a Daft
Oh,
Punk.
oh.
In a robot outfit.
Daft Punk is signing
Daft Punk robot.
the title contract in a robot outfit. It's kind of amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, so Daft Punk is on there. See?
Yeah. They're not messing around.
And Queen Bee just signed.
They just signed in her glitter shorts.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that Jay-Z knows how to do is press.
You can tell because of the hat. I think it's Timberland.
Yeah. Wow. Dude, Spotify is having Usher's there.
That's that guy. I don't know who that guy is, but that's that guy.
Yeah.
Spotify's having
Jay-Z has friends. He knows how to do press. He knows how to make a splash.
Oh, man.
It's like they've made it look. It's like a declaration.
This is the Magna Charta.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh!
The Magna
It's the Magna Charta.
I mean,
wish that was in
technically,
show
you're
so
sort
much.
of correct.
Wow.
Oh! Okay, I'm done. Is there a
Magna-
mic? Can I drop
That's
it?
amazing.
It just really needs
Yeah.
You just left out two letters.
What do you mean?
Charter. That's what it's.
No!
No, get
The
it?
Magna Carta,
Yeah,
Roger.
no, I get it. That's.
Oh,
But charts because of music.
Let's all talk about British history now.
Well, it wasn't Britain back then.
Oh, for the love of Pete.
I hate it when the mead is runny.
Why did you have to poop on that?
What did I do?
I don't.
Is that
No, that's Rihanna.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Rihanna.
No, it's
Not
She
wearing a
looks
shirt.
so grown up.
I know, because she's wearing her cute little suit shirt with no shirt on.
We have to go. No,
We have
just
to go.
kidding. Oh, here comes Usher. This is kind of exciting. Now, who? Oh, is that Coldplay?
Yeah, that's Chris Martin.
So yeah, just give us the rundown of who's there. That's crazy.
Yeah, like Usher just signed, Rihanna just signed.
So
some guy
Rihanna,
in that
Usher,
big Mickey
Madonna,
Mouse.
Daft Punk,
Oh yeah, Madonna. Dang. So who's the guy in the Mickey
Jay-Z.
Mouse hat?
I'm assuming Kanye's there. Oh, that's Jack White, the Daft Punk guys, Queen Bey.
Wait, we're panning across.
Yeah, cute.
Uh,
Oh, Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj, right.
Who's the guy
Oh,
with the...
see now,
Hey, chat room.
Nikki was a
Yeah.
friend of Beats, so that's a coup.
Oh, she was?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
Yeah.
Jimmy Iovine is like, damn.
Did she? And Alicia Keys did all the introductions.
Oh, look at her. And is that... Who's that?
I don't know. Dude.
Of course, who knows what their deals are all different.
Lily Allen?
Oh, it could be Lily Allen, yes.
Look at Madonna, man.
Madonna's ridiculous.
Madonna is a vampire.
She did a deal with the devil, no question.
Ageless. She stole Dick Clark's soul.
Yep.
She's not ageless. She's not-
Roger.
I'm sorry.
Oh, so
Roger.
these people are all the types.
What? No one can defy time.
I mean the owners. I'm sorry, they're all the owners.
Yeah. Wow.
Wynn and Regine. Regine.
Yeah,
and
these are
then
people
Wynn.
I don't know.
I don't know who Wynn and Regine are, but J. Cole is this guy.
Yeah.
A co-owner. So these people are not just like artists on board; they're co-owners.
Wait, so
Like
so how many
labels?
co-owners are there?
So there's like at least 8 on. There's at least 12 on stage.
Where's your chat room? Oh, here it is. In a world.
You know, I wonder about the Daft Punk guys if they just ever send out body doubles in their place.
I know.
Like, we're too busy. I don't want to get out.
Oh yeah, no doubt, right? They have to.
Lovely Clevelander. There's a really old picture of Madonna in an attic somewhere.
A picture of Ciccone. What's her first
Yep.
name? What's Madonna?
Dorian Gray, right? So it's.
Well, I was trying to think of Madonna's full name. Her last name's Ciccone. It's a Madonna Ciccone?
Yeah, but Madonna's not her real. What's her?
Well,
real...
I'm saying I'm changing Dorian Gray to.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Come on,
Her
Molly.
name is.
Her.
Her name is
How do we not know this?
like Marie. What the hell is her name?
Oh God, internet. Here we come. Hold on.
So now they're moving. Now they're going to basically like an ad for it.
Will it have Joan? No. Louise. It is Madonna Louise Ciccone. Yeah. A portrait of Louise Ciccone.
There you go.
Oh, Sam Smith is on board. Sam Smith
Okay.
is one of the co-owners.
Yeah.
And then now it's basically an ad where they're talking about all the musicians in the room.
That's good.
This is Molly Wood reporting live from the scene of the Tidal live stream.
What can you tell us,
What we're
Molly?
getting now is it's an ad with all the different artists, co-owners talking about the service and how
Oh,
it's
they're
going to
doing
be
video
a
too,
game
smart.
changer for real.
Game of change.
The interface pictures, it looks like Beats.
Jack White is. Oh, they're all hanging out in a magic musician room.
Yeah, they're showing them sort of like in a conference boardroom, like reliving when they all planned it or whatever.
Because that's how it
Kanye sitting
happened.
at the table. They're all.
it's
This
just
is
like-
amazing.
it's
Look at
terrible.
Daft Punk at the meeting.
Yeah, Daft Punk at a meeting.
This is kind of amazing.
Like, oh, artists in meetings.
Wow. They actually do. That does look like they were actually in a meeting.
Yeah. But they probably did it like Kimmel does it, where they shoot a very tight two-shot of two people and then cut to a two-shot that was filmed 3,000 miles away, because there ain't no way you're getting all those people in one meeting.
No, they have a bunch. It was like a party.
So they had a
have
party.
them all, yeah, they had a party. They've got them all like planning.
They looked bored enough to be in a meeting. I'm
yeah,
just saying.
exactly. They panned across a whole bunch of it at once.
Fair enough.
If I'm yelling, I apologize because I have.
It's okay. You're fine. You're far away from the mic. It's okay.
Okay,
Oh, Kanye has the mic in the meeting, and
Kanye
he's
has a mic in the meeting.
speaking. This looks pretty
He's
cool.
going to
This
he's
is
going to
about
let
us
them
owning
finish.
our oil. Whoa. It's the
What does that
beginning
even mean?
of the world. Leave it to Kanye to understate.
Yeah, yeah. If
You know
you
what-
need understatement, please call Kanye West.
Do you want me? You know what's really weird? This whole thing kind of reminds that whole shot where they're all sitting around together. It's kind of like like almost a musical cabal. Like we're
Yeah.
gonna change things our way.
Is this antitrusty? Is that why they've never done it before?
Actually, it looks like an SNL advertisement for like music pants or something.
You guys are talking.
We need to have this title up all night to get lucky.
He's like, we need to change the idea of an artist as products. This is not right. The artist is not a product.
I have just turned myself into a product. Oh, Madonna.
Okay, now she's having work. That's
Well,
work.
we know she's having.
Yeah, but that's like a lot of work. Like her face looks
But they had
totally
to
different.
correct the early aughts work, and well, actually, Madonna never fell prey to that. Madonna had the thing where they just injected, instead of getting rid of wrinkles by pulling, she injects the fat to get rid of the wrinkles.
Right. But now she's
Which is
having-
What? She does what?
So if you'd like a brief digression into plastic surgery as it has evolved through the years, the way they used to take away women's wrinkles, and men's too, is cut the skin off their scalp and pull it back and tighten it into a little knob at the back of your head, and that was gross.
That's what Burt Reynolds
That's
looks
what
like now.
that's why everybody looks like this. Oh, that's it.
Yeah, screenshot away.
Screenshot away, people. And then the reason why it changed is that somebody figured out, well, if you know how to take the technology to take fat from somewhere and inject it into the chestal region, why can't we do that with the face? And so now the wrinkles are plumped out, and that's why people look a lot more natural. And also Botox. There you go. Daily Tech Surgery News.
We do not cover biotech on a regular basis.
Oh, by the way, speaking of biotech, did you see the guys who were doing the luminescence in their eyes? Like the Chronicles of Riddick?
Wow.
Yeah, some crazy people up in Sacramento or Fresno, they like
that.
No, you don't, because it looks so creepy. It looked like, because they had those big, like, see in the dark eyes. Ooh.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And that was it, by the way. So just that big commercial and the recap of their meeting.
Yeah.
And party. Meeting/party.
Meeting/party. Those people all looked like that's not a music party. That didn't look like a music party. That was like a corporate professional meeting.
You could probably rewind and watch something. Yeah, it was a corporate professional meeting. Interesting. This is interesting. We shall see.
They got a lot more. I knew they would have big artists, but they got a lot more than I expected, that's for sure.
Well, that was fun.
Mm-hmm. That's fun.
All right.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I'm going to turn off the video. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
I have to turn off Alpha Geek Radio. I'm going to go do that right now.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
There was another universe where it just went forever.